Hello. Other options that you can set on the brush palette, it's texture. You can click on a pattern sample and select a pattern from the pop-up palette. You can set one or more of the following options. Invert, it's gonna invert the height and low points in the texture based on the tones in the pattern. When inverting selected, the lightness areas in the pattern are gonna be the low points in the texture and therefore receive the least paint. The darkest area in the pattern are gonna be the high points in the texture and therefore receive the most paint. When invert is deselected, the lightest areas are gonna be the one that receive the most paint, and the darkest areas are gonna receive the least paint. You can set options for scale, that is gonna specify the scale of the pattern. You can type a number or use the slider to enter a value that it's in percentage of the original pattern size. You can set texture each tip, that is gonna apply the selected texture individually to each brush mark in a brush stroke rather than to the brush stroke as a whole. You must select these options to make the depth variance available. Mode specifies the blending mode used to combine the brush and the pattern. Depth specifies how deeply the paint penetrates into the texture. You can type a number or use the slider to enter a value. At 100%, the low points in the texture do not receive any paint, and at 0%, all points in the texture receive the same amount of paint. Minimum depth specifies the minimum depth to which paint can penetrate when depth control is set to fade, or pen pressure, or pen tilt, or stylus wheel, and when texture each tip is selected. Depth jitter and control specifies how the depth varies when texture each tip is selected. To specify the maximum percentage of jitter, you can enter a value. To specify how you want to control, you can select an option from the control pop-up menu. Off is gonna have no control over the depth variance. Fade is gonna fade from depth jitter percentage to minimum depth percentage in some specified number of steps, and you can also set to pen stylus you can put that on pressure or tilt or stylus wheel or rotation, that are going to vary the depth based on the stylus.